Ready Row USA podcast. It's part of the RowingChat network, the international network of broadcasts about the fabulous sport of rowing. And we're continuing our weekly broadcasts featuring the best of rowing news, gadgets and gear, club news, and individual news from rowers across the country. So thank you for sending in your items. We'll have a little form link in the show notes that you can use to send in anything. No club is too small or too large, or individual news is good too. So I am your host and producer, Charlotte Pierce, and our studio producer is Nancy Diesner. Thank you, Nancy. You're doing great. She prepares the slideshow and the images and so forth. And we both proudly row out of community rowing in Boston, Massachusetts, where it's gradually getting warmer. Not very fast. But like I said, Ready Row USA is, we've been going about 6 months now, and we're part of the RowingChat network. Its URL is rowing.chat. So please visit the website to receive notifications of upcoming shows in everything from Faster Masters to Rowing Radio to Ready Row USA. And we are also looking for other podcast hosts around the world. So if you're interested, give us a shout and join your rowing community. I know that was bad. That was really bad, but I had to say it. Several times at the instigation of our contributor Mark Wilson and our friend Jim Dietz, who coaches with Mark at the All-American Rowing Camp. So our guest expert is Ben Booth. Hi, Ben. I'm just going to put you on the screen here so you can wave to the multitudes.
Hello.
Thanks for coming on. And before we get started, on your explanation of coastal rowing and get us all excited about it, I wanted to mention our sponsors. And we are grateful to them because that enables us, as you may guess, there's some expenses involved in producing the podcasts. And Just Strong is athletic gear for women. It's really well made accessories and gear, clothing. So you can use the coupon code on the screen, RebCaro10. And if you miss that, just go to rowing.chat and look for the sponsors page. Fabulous clothing, and we really recommend them. Another sponsor is Mind Games. It's a book by Annie Vernon. It's about psychology of elite athletes. And even though I'm not an elite athlete, I am getting a lot out of it. I'm listening to it right now. And I just, the concepts in there apply to anyone. So if you want to buy a signed copy, you can buy them at Rock the Boat UK. And find both links on rowing.chat/sponsors. And our third sponsor is the Rose and Thorn Active Bras. Really well made, incredibly good for rowing, women who row. And, you just feel very supported and ready to go when you have one of them on. If you want to get the 10% discount, it's row 10 at row. Again, go to the sponsors page to get those codes. So, like I said, today we have Ben Booth of Rebel Rowing in Westport, Massachusetts, and he's a national authority on the rapidly expanding sport of coastal rowing. Welcome, Ben.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. And so I kind of, I've heard about coastal rowing, and a lot of my friends are really interested in coming down to row with you. and anywhere else they are. But what exactly is coastal rowing, and how is it different from our beloved sport of sculling, our nice little delicate boats, and are we all going to have to buy new equipment?
Well, let's answer the last one first. Yes, you're all going to need new equipment because you're going to love coastal rowing. And, plain and simple, coastal rowing is rowing on the coast or really any large body of water that maybe is not accessible in a skinny boat. And I think for what we're talking about now, I mean, there's so many kinds of coastal rowing, right? Vikings rowed coastal, big dories rowed coastal. But I think for what people are really talking about now is the FISA class coastal rowing boats, right? And those are it's a more modern, current style of boat that has the world championship and the world rowing support. And essentially, the ergonomics are exactly the same as the flat water rowing. So you can literally just jump out of your boat into one of these and row them and not feel a whole lot of difference. But just as I say that, it's also totally different, right? Because you're getting out into waves and surf and
so
very different environment.
It's even a different oar. Is that correct? We were talking the other day about this, and if I took my sculling oars out, would I just crack them in two? Or?
Well, yes and no, right? So the way I row coastal, which is big waves and very competitive, I do use a little bit of a different oar, but that doesn't mean to say that a regular sculling oar could not work in a coastal.
But you wouldn't want to do it in, how big are the waves when you go out? Are they would there be a point at which you don't go out, I suppose?
Well, I'm a little bit of an outlier here in that I do look for the biggest waves possible. And
I know. I'm afraid I'd be like that too. I'd be scared and excited at the same time.
Yeah, and the fear is the thing that is so cool about this. To get that actual nervous sense in your stomach where it's just like, oh man, my adrenaline is kicking, these waves are huge, and I'll go out in 10, 12-foot breakers.
So how long does it take to get the hang of it? I mean, how do you, there must be things you need to know to kind of handle those breakers.
It's the nice part about it, it's progressive, right? You can start on absolute flat water. You can go from there to hitting your powerboat wakes, from there to a little bay, right? And it's a progressive thing, and so it's immediate, right? You can immediately jump to a coastal boat and get out in waves and have fun, right? But just like any other art form, as you take it to higher and higher levels, you get into the more specific techniques for that. And once you get into waves, say overhead height, there are tons of specific wave handling techniques to learn.
And so have you actually dumped or flipped a boat out there?
Yeah, not as often as I'm prepared to. Anytime I go out in big waves, I'm ready to roll. And, there are specific techniques to re-enter a coastal boat, and I can roll a boat over, get back in it, and on my way almost as fast as a kayaker can do a kayak roll.
Wow. So that would be wild.
Yeah, and it's liberating, right? Because what's the big fear? Get out in waves. The fear is falling into the water, right? Yeah. And so if that's not a concern anymore, that it's liberating. You're just like, I fall in. It's part of the fun. I cool off. I get back in. Yeah.
And I'm really excited because, just not to interrupt you, but we actually have a live comment, and I've been trying to get people to jump in and say these, but somebody who apparently knows you. Hello, Ben. Can't wait to see you in Sarasota. A rower from Scullers Rowing in Exuma sent me a message that you beat him at the World, and he is coming for a rematch with you in Sarasota. So when is Sarasota? Is that just a coastal regatta, or?
Sarasota is a coastal regatta that's going to happen in this. I forget the exact date, but find them online. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be, I think, 4-day long event. They're going to do the international style race, and then a whole bunch of other fun shorter events throughout the week.
Oh,
And I'll
great.
take
Yeah,
all
Nancy put that up.
so come on.
Mhm. So where do we get boats if we're going to go to that?
That race, you're in luck, right? Because they're going to be supplying boats.
Okay, cool. So as long as you register in time, I imagine, or
Yep, register,
okay,
plan your vacation in Florida, and there you
yeah,
are.
perfect. Okay, I don't know. We seem to be having some video dropping out, but seems to be working now. So sorry about that. So these pictures, do you have like a GoPro on your thing?
I do, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have a Garmin 360. I haven't used it much yet, but I'd like to be able to put it on the boat. It'd be cool in a coastal situation, I imagine. Is like you'd be underwater part of the time.
Oh yeah, I've been underwater up to my, up to mid torso underwater in the boat.
So um, it's all sculling, right? It's all two oars. But do you
Yeah,
have
in the
boats
FISA style. Yeah, in FISA style racing, it's all sculling. At the World Championships, it's all sculling, singles, doubles, and coxed quads.
Mm-hmm. Cox quads, okay. So tell us more about your organization down there, and about is there a national organization for coastal rowing?
Well, U.S. Rowing is just starting to get involved. The CEO went up to the World Championships in Canada and really saw what a vibrant sport it is, and that
Mm-hmm.
got them excited about it. So they're starting to get involved, but there really, as of now, isn't a centralized national governing body of coastal rowing. Like I said, U.S. Rowing is working on it. There are people like myself, the groups in Florida, out in San Francisco. So these pockets of people that are really leading the charge
Sure.
there on a local level.
It'd be cool if there was some kind of a directory, like, so, if I got signed up for this one Jim told me about in California, where I could find a boat and kind of maybe get out some practice and things like that. It's like, is there something, is that going to be part of the national organization?
Yeah, right now, most of these are on Regatta Central. If you go to Regatta Central,
Mm-hmm.
open water or coastal, you can find a lot of these events. But I'll definitely kind of push U.S. Rowing to get this stuff a little bit more out there for people.
Cool. Yeah. Great. And are there any other things that you think people should know about the sport? And like, is it just starting in the US, or isn't it bigger in Europe than it has been in the US?
Yeah, it's huge in Europe. You see a lot of national team rowers that also do coastal. They plan the Coastal World Championships late in the season, so you can do both. Here the FISA coastal rowing is new. It's just taking off. Although in New England, we've been doing open water races for decades, like the Blackburn Challenge, big 20-mile race around Cape Ann. That's over 30 years running. So there has been an open water kind of generic activity going on in pockets, but the international class, it's brand new here. We're a little bit slow on the uptake.
Right. It's okay. I think you're making up for it, maybe. And you said something about a juniors program, or
mentioned about the youth Olympics. Really interesting. In 2022, the IOC approved a venue for that of a rowing facility. So if they're going to do rowing at the Youth Olympics, it's going to be coastal.
Wow. So, I mean, oh, I see. So, yeah. So there's no other type of rowing facility. It's just on the coast.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And are there programs in high schools and clubs that are springing up, or?
Well, I run a club in Westport called Dharma
Mhm.
Voyage, and we do youth coastal rowing. We've been doing it for a couple of years, using various boats, and we just bought a international class quad for the youth. So
Cool.
we do really fun things. We go on big expeditions with the kids. We'll take them way offshore. We'll get them into big waves, and it's an amazing program for young folks to get on the boat.
Yeah, it must be. I mean, I have a Pinert, sculling boat, and I love it. But I just like this sort of grabs me, this concept of just getting out there and tackling these waves. It just seems so fun. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing because it's you and the environment, right? And
yeah.
it's being a surfer. It's like, yeah, like I'm always looking at
Yeah.
surf report, checking the weather. Where's the wind coming from? Where should I go for this particular wind? It's just an incredibly immersive experience in a very dynamic environment.
And now, do you surf as well? Are you a surfer?
I'm not. I have surfed, but I'm not a
Uh-huh.
surfer because I love being in the boat so much. And
Yeah,
in New
right.
England, where we don't have like the perfect,
No,
longboard curls coming all the time. In a boat, you can serve anything, and it's always fun.
not exactly. Yeah, I have no idea why my video isn't showing, but that it really doesn't matter. Nancy, are we getting a screen share on this episode? Oh, thank you. Okay, so in the next, as we wind up here, we'd like to make sure people are aware of our episode hashtag. So if you've watched to this point, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And our RRUSA Rebel Coastal is our hashtag. And Ben, can you tell us if people use this in their social media and we find them, what they will win?
They'll win a row in Westport on the coast. No experience needed. We'll teach you everything you need to know.
Excellent. I'm so happy. Yeah, I think I might. Well, I don't think I'm qualified to enter, I guess, but I would like to. Anyway, we'll come down and take some pictures and stuff and put them in the show notes. I'd like to make sure that people realize that if they go to the YouTube channel, they can read the show notes, and we'll have lots of good information in there about coastal rowing. And Ben, maybe you can add some things that we didn't cover or that you would like to expand on. And as we wrap up, we'd like to mention our correspondents. Mark Wilson, he's a regular contributor. He runs the All-American Rowing Camp with Jim Dietz in DeLand, Florida. We also appreciate Ellen Minsner, the new U.S. Rowing High Performance Para Director and CRI's Director of Inclusion and Advocacy. She is a contributor and appears on the program from time to time. And my company is Pierce Press. I'm actually looking for some educational titles. So if you're interested, just go to piercepress.com and send me a book proposal. Thank you so much, Ben. I really appreciate your coming on, and maybe you can update us in a couple of months, and as the season progresses.
Sure, we'll do.
Okay, good deal. Thanks again to our sponsors, JustStrong.com, Annie Vernon's Mind Games, and Rosenthorn Active Bras. And I apologize for the video problems, but I think that we got some good images from Ben and some interesting coastal rowing. Thank you for joining us. See you next week, Wednesday at 11 a.m. That would be May 22nd at 11 a.m. Thanks so much. Bye.